Alright everyone, I mentioned yesterday that I would make this video today, so here it is. Here's why I don't support age limits for politicians. Now, limits on people getting into positions of power, although the real powers are the moneyed interests that control these people like fucking puppets 90% of the time, are discussed constantly. It's like term limits for SCOTUS, age limits for the presidency. There's already a limit on how young they can be. I think it's 34, if I remember correctly. It's in the 30s somewhere anyway. There's no higher cap, though. You can be 100 years old and run for the presidency. Here's why I don't support age limits. I also wouldn't support an IQ limit. Sounds like a great idea until you think of, well, who's going to administer the test? Could that be messed around with? Would leftoids denigrate it like they're trying to do with IQ tests already given to skew the results, to eliminate disparities and promulgate diversity? Of course they would, because there would be the ability to do so and a reason to do so, and it's a really big fucking reason. Taking over the executive branches is up there. That's high level. It's not like being a mayor. Here's why I don't support them. The problem with age limits is that it's an arbitrary sort of determinant that you're making. A lower cap limit makes more sense. A person doesn't even reach mental maturity until a certain age. There's in some states, like you can't drink till you're 21, for example. By the way, I think that should be at 18, like it is in the rest of the civilized world. Why then a person, people talk about this in context of the military, well, they can't drink a Budweiser, but they're allowed to go shoot people. Aha! That makes a pertinent argument. The same would be true of age and politics. If you're going to be making public policy decisions, although this is technically arbitrary, there are 20-year-olds out there, there are 15-year-olds out there that manage their own businesses. That's not the vast corpus of those individuals. I would say it would make more sense to do a mental test for politicians. There are 80-year-olds that are totally with it. There are 70-year-olds that already have dementia. Joe Biden has dementia. He's only a few years older than Trump. Trump clearly does not have dementia. Hillary Clinton's the same age. She doesn't have dementia. She's, criminally insane, but she's not demented. Joe Biden, however, is. You have plenty of people over that particular age. You have people who are in their 80s in Congress. I think several of the SCOTUS justices are in their 80s. All these people are, well, except for Feinstein, apparently still with it. Even Pelosi normally is coherent. They might have to dope her up on methamphetamine first, but generally speaking, she's capable of uttering a coherent sentence. Biden's not. See, the problem is they're all similar age, but the aging process is not the same for everyone. Some people are more genetically inclined to different mental problems, breakdown of their neural capabilities when they're older. Some people aren't. There are people that hit 100 years old, they're still with it. There are people that are 100 years old that work in academics. They're still perfectly intelligent. Their memory's still sharp. Their judgment, their capability of doing things, other than the fact that they're old as hell, and so physically they may need help getting around or something like, shit, I shit my pants for the third time this week and that sucks. Mentally, they're still there. I actually feel sorry for people when their body breaks down a lot more than their mind has, because they're aware of the fact that they're fucked up. I don't know, at some point you're hoping for memory loss, I guess. No offense to anyone with a loved one with Alzheimer's, I've seen it for myself, but I'm like, it is a trade-off. A, I'm fucked up physically, can't do anything myself, and I'm aware of it and sad. Or B, I'm just crazy. I'm not even aware of it mostly anymore. I don't know which one is worse, to tell the truth. Getting old will suck. Maybe I won't quite get there. I think 80 would be a stretch myself. I drink a lot of caffeine. Actually, that extends lifespan. They did new studies, and the old ones didn't fix for smoking. That's why they thought that you'd have a stroke if you had a cup of coffee. The fact is also, when you're talking about decision making, I realize there's a cult of personality at this point where politicians like Dan Crenshaw, he looks the role. He's sort of the gruff-looking veteran with the eye patch. But his policy making is all mental and completely in line with the cuckservatives. He is a cuckservative, by the way. He's not a populist. He's shown his true colors. AOC, she's dumber than a box of rocks, but she looks the role. There's a huge cult of personality thing going on. But age doesn't necessarily correlate with how dumb as a rock a person is, how demented they are, or how intelligent and capable and apt they are. Again, there are people that are in Congress today that are elderly. They're over 75. That's the cutoff for true elderly status. Perfectly fine. They get around. They do their job. There are people who are younger than that that are constantly fucked up, that are constantly absent, and that are dumbasses. That includes the entirety of the Geek Squad, formerly Gang of Four within the House. Well, I think 5 of those individuals are under 50. In fact, I think 3 or 4 of them are under 45. They're very young. They're also very, very stupid. It would make more sense to impose an intelligence restriction that you can't unfortunately actually impose because of the arbitrary testing standards you'd have to use. It would make more sense to do a dementia check. Again, that could be fiddled around with. A person could be having a bad day when they take the test, and they fail it by a point, and it looks like they're demented. They were just in a haze. They didn't sleep well. They're hungover, something like that. It could replicate some of the apparent mental symptoms that would be consistent with early on-stage dementia. You've just prevented them from seeking office, including in a situation where they might be very good and very popular. That's the other problem. Let's say you have someone enter politics. So you've set an age 70 cap for the House. 68-year-old runs. They do a really, really great job in that term. They're 70, so they're not supposed to run again, but their approval's like 70%. They're a national hero, a national treasure. State loves them, already building statues. All they ever did is spend 2 years in the House bickering. Why should that person be incapable of running, potentially leaving open a vacuum, a position, in which someone completely unqualified runs? And what about the rights of the parties insofar as they function at all? I'm anti-political party, but their structures are not technically public. Their structures are fundamentally corporatistic. By having an age limit, you are effectively saying some of the population is off of limits for you to run even though they're at the age of majority. And that's the other problem. The other problem is it would require a constitutional amendment. You couldn't do this through any simpler method, which is why it won't happen. Because if you've attained the age of majority, which is the age of 18, with the exception of a constitutional clause against people under, and again, I think it's 34, running for the presidency, other positions can't be limited in the same way. Now, under the 10th, because the states control election systems, in theory, they might be able to pass age limits, but again, where's the public will for it? People always talk about, well, we need to kick some of these old fogies out of the House and Senate. Look, the young ones aren't doing any better. I just don't see the point. Is AOC really any better than Bernie Sanders? No. She's even more dumb. She's even more stupid. And she's classically educated enough to know better. She's also very, very much more corrupt. But yet she's in office. Nobody would be trying to keep her out under age limits. She could serve over and over again in her safe blue leftoid district, continuing to make her own party miserable. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I hope she has a very, very long and non-esteemed career. That's about all. Peace out.